Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse. Prepare to bask in unprecedented glory because today we're going to be reviewing day number 2 of my real world job experience. And of course, as you guys unequivocally know, I've been working for well over a decade, but now I've undertook a new job and I'm going to elucidate how that experience was on the second day. And I'll try to sustain this series. I don't know if I can. This job is inducing inflammation, fatigue, and it's just a debilitating and agonizing prospect to brood over. So, what am I insinuating? What am I referring to? Well, working the job has been arduous, it has been cumbersome, it is physically taxing. I don't mind undergoing a mentally taxing job, but standing all day, hauling heavy loads, having to deal with the drudgery, and the agony of manual labor is definitely a hardship that is difficult to remedy, to say the least, especially when you're unable to sit down for even 1/10 of the job. So it's brutal, to say the least, on my end because I'm not accustomed to standing for prolonged durations. Furthermore, standing all day is allegedly twice as harmful as sitting down all day. Of course, it's lethal to be sedentary, indolent, and idle. You need a balance between sitting down and standing up. But standing up all day can cause varicose veins, and once you have varicose veins, your veins become elongated and gnarled, meaning they become hardened, and the veins in your veins may not operate properly. So it's important to desist and refrain from standing up all day. Yet again, it's also important to not remain inactive. So if you have a desk job, then try to get up at least once every 10 minutes and walk around for 20 seconds to 2 minutes. And if your employer is agitated and irritated about the fact that you have bodily needs and need to walk around to attenuate inflammation, then just explain the scenario. And if the job's not meant to be, if you're required to sit down for prolonged periods of time, then find another job in which an employer will be able to accommodate your venial, trivial, minor requests. Your health should take precedence above generating fiat currency. So the job truly has a bleak prospect because when I received my first paycheck from the job, I'm going to be extorted out of a fortune of my pittance of revenue. In the US, there's a minimum of 7 types of income tax. There's federal income tax, state income tax, local income tax, Medicare tax, Social Security tax, inflation, which devalues your purchasing power, and then of course you have the Obamacare healthcare mandate penalty. So under duress you need health insurance, and if you don't opt to have health insurance, which is non-enticing in the US because the benefits are so egregious, then you have to pay a penalty under duress. So there's at least 7 forms of income tax in the US, and there's over 29 different types of taxes in the US, and taxation transfers money from the productive people and relinquishes it to the utmost unproductive people. If there were no taxes and no regulations, the global economy would unequivocally have a GDP of well over $1 trillion because there wouldn't be anything to stifle nor encumber nor impede business. Everything would be based on voluntary transactions, as it should be. There wouldn't be high barriers to entry to compete in a market, and compliance costs wouldn't have to be passed on to consumers if they'd essentially would be non-existent. So I apologize about the digression. Let's get back onto the job. The manual labor is definitely stress-inducing. I need to avail myself of my breaks. You get paid breaks, so I should seize the opportunity to exhaust all those breaks, and that would help me mitigate the deleterious effects appertaining to standing all day, because I'd be able to sit down for a brief period of time, to say the least. What else? I put in an appeal letter or a requisition for the maximum starting salary, and the disparity between the maximum starting salary and minimum wage is quite negligible, but it makes a huge difference to me. What else? It behooved me to acquire IT skills, but I'm discontent about the prospect of going back to school after having earned a terminal degree. I'm sure I could watch hundreds of hours of tutorials on YouTube by foregoing sleep, even though I get next to no sleep. I just dread the idea of not being able to generate revenue 24/7, so I'd rather earmark that time towards working. I've been working at night. It's quite a calamitous situation. It takes a toll against your longevity, and it undoubtedly increases your mortality rate. So the job is pretty much isolated. The facility, for the most part, is desolated. There's no socializing. You can't really be gregarious. You have to complete your tasks and concede to whatever demands the managers foist upon you. So it is what it is. I'm expending my time for revenue is a recipe for destitution. And is it really worth it when my money's going to be reemitted to the utmost unproductive people? I detest having to finance their amenities under duress. Everything should be based off voluntary transactions. To live in harmony, the only artificial law you need is the non-aggression principle, which essentially entails being able to do anything you want as long as you don't initiate aggression against others, which is how everything should be based around. What else? Everything should also be privatized. That way, money earned is retained by the productive people who earn it. And under duress, they won't have to relinquish it to parasitical individuals who produce nothing. I have no problem with charity, but charity is optional. Or I should say, donating to charities is optional. And if you want to donate your money to individuals or organizations or apparatuses, it should always be optional. There should never be any extortion, nor coercion. Everything should be based on voluntary transactions. If you had everything based on voluntary transactions, the economy would thrive, prosper, and flourish. If the productive people generate more wealth, only the private sector generates wealth. What else? I guess you could say I'm fearful that I'm going to succumb to varicose veins and further ravage my body by sustaining this job. But yet again, the ramifications and repercussions appertaining to being destitute are adverse as well. If you're destitute, you can't afford to eat fruits and vegetables that are non-organic 7 days per week. So I guess you have to sacrifice your health to sustain a job, and that's the cost of spending your time for money. My time is sacrosanct, it's finite, it's non-replenishable, it's invaluable, and it's precious. So maybe I'll need to create a minimum of 1 million YouTube videos to attain sustenance. I love to be a full-time content creator, but if no one's supporting the content, if people are disinclined to donate, and if YouTube just demonetizes all my content in perpetuity, then I'm going to have to make severe concessions by working a job, even if it adversely impinges on my health each and every day I work at. Standing all day is painful. Hauling heavy loads is painful. Humans are meant to eat and slumber all day. We're not meant to do anything else. I'm a human being, not a human doing. And my body, my vessel, my marionette, my puppet, my water bag, those synonyms for your body, is my subconscious mind. So if my vessel is in pain from standing up all day and inflamed from standing up all day, then my consciousness that presides over my vessel subsequently feels it. So take care of your vessel and treat your body like a holistic temple. And working a job encroaches on your sleep schedule. My shift ended early in the morning. It encroaches on your eating schedule. It encroaches on your spare time to grow your brands and to generate revenue through allocating time into your side hustle. So it encroaches on the success of your side hustle, because if you can't expend any time in your side hustle, then it's going to falter, collapse, and decline. And my side hustle of live streaming, creating tens of thousands of videos, can't be sustained if I'm dedicating a minimum of 40 hours per week to a company to maximize their profits. It always comes at the expense of your own health, your own sleep, your own food, your own happiness. So working a job is definitely a bleak, grim, inauspicious, depressing prospect. And I'm just hoping that one day it'd be a viable option, albeit not now, at the present moment, to be pursuant of a job as a full-time content creator. Unfortunately, the field I'm educated in is a niche, and job openings are scant, and if you don't have enough publications, you don't get the job. It's as simple as that. So I need to produce more scholarly articles and attain more publications if I want a higher paying job. But if I do attain that job, then the hours it will offer are far and few. I hope that you found this video to be intriguing. Unfortunately, day 2 of the job was a dreadful experience, even though the management was very professional. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.